from £0 to £10,000 a month. I'm going to show you exactly how we can scale an agency to this figure in the next 10 weeks only. So before we get into the video, my name's Zub. I have actually scaled my agency up to multiple six figures now, and I also co-found Client Capital, which is our agency networking group with over 150 guys inside. So if you guys do want to check that out and learn more about that, then click the link in the description below. Well, let's get into it. So I have already briefly started the document, but I just wanted to do the maths ahead of actually filming this video. So if we need to get to £10,000 a month, the aim is to get 10 clients, all at £1,000 a month retainers, with a 20% close rate. That's 50 actual sales calls, so 50 live calls, and with a 50% show up rate, which is pretty shit, 100 calls booked. So I am just trying to make it as realistic as possible. So we need 100 calls booked. If we can get 10 sales calls booked in a week, so that's 2 a day, Monday to Friday, we only need 10 weeks to be able to hit our goal of £10,000. Let's get into it. The first thing that we really need to think about, well, realistically, the first three things that we need to think about is your service, niche, and offer. Now, you might be thinking service and offer are two different things, but the same thing. I will explain why they are different in a second. But with the service, what you need to think about is, okay, where do my skills lie, / what do I think I am the best at or I enjoy? Okay, that's simply it, especially if you're just starting out. Now, my biggest advice to people who are starting out is to learn meta ads. Now, meta ads is basically Facebook ads, Instagram, and Facebook, basically owned by Meta, so they you can run ads on both platforms. So we're going to do that. Now, the other things that I would also recommend to incorporate, especially in 2025, is AI, because everyone talks about it. So AI. So you're probably thinking, well, how can we actually incorporate AI? And that's something I'm going to get onto in a little bit. So once we have a brief understanding as to, okay, I want to run meta ads, I want to incorporate AI, what can I do next? Well, the niche. We need to understand, well, what niche are we going to target? Now, that is solely up to you. The truth is, every single niche works in this literally every single niche works. But there are some specific requirements that the businesses you're targeting need to have. So, for example, realistically, £20,000 a month profit, right? Maybe, in fact, we could probably do, £10,000 a month profit, okay? Now, the reason why that is realistically, if we go up here, if you're £1,000 a month, they only made £3,000 profit, they don't want to be sending 33% of their profit each month to you. It's not going to happen. It's very unrealistic. So usually if a local business, which is a pretty manual business, has a profit margin of about 33%, they're going to be making around £30,000 in revenue. Now, we're going to get onto why I put both of those down a little bit later on as well, but we'll just have that for there. In terms of employee size, it doesn't really matter. In terms of anything else, again, it doesn't really matter, but these two matter the most. And I guess you could also argue that because in this example, we're doing meta ads and AI, it also needs to be B2C, okay? It could be B2B as well, but meta is more of a platform tailored towards B2C. Cool. So we understand the niche. Then we have the offer. So the offer is basically selling the benefits. I will help you achieve X in Y amount of time with Z mechanism, basically. Okay, so let's say we targeted landscapers. I will help you add £50,000 in revenue in the next 60 days using the Zub mechanism, the giga scaling mechanism, whatever. It doesn't really matter, but that's the offer. So let's say in this example, I am going to go with, spin the wheel, we'll go with roofers. Fuck it, why not? Because they all work, and I literally want to try and stress that to you guys. Fantastic. So we've got roofers. The offer is I will add, we could even do like roofers, I will add you £50,000 in revenue in the next 60 days using the giga scaling framework. Okay, cool. That's that sorted. Now the service, let's break this down. What is AI? Like, everyone hears this buzzword, AI, but how can you actually incorporate it into your offer? So the meta ads, if you guys don't know, is the lead generation aspect. So here we are literally just generating leads for their business. Generating leads for their business, which obviously turns into revenue, okay? But when a lead signs up to the contact form, they fill in their information, they fill in their interest, then what happens next? Well, usually people call them. So if I was a roofer and I run Facebook ads, I had leads coming in, I then call the leads to try and get a quote booked in or a visit booked in, whatever. Now, where AI comes in, and this is only one example of using AI, by the way, is, for example, a conversation bot. Now, not an AI chatbot on a website. That is very washed. Everyone's been doing that for many, many years now. Conversation bot is, well, conversation AI agent is the better way of saying it, right? Which is basically just a bot. Now, what this does is it understands that a lead came in. It will then have a conversation with the lead over SMS or WhatsApp. It doesn't really matter. You can set it up for both. It has that conversation with that person, and then based on their availability, it will book them into your client's diary. Now, obviously, there's a few steps to this. So, conversation with prospect. It might even qualify them depending on the offer. Now, with roofers, qualifying might be in the sense of, okay, well, how quick do they need it? Do they have the budget, etc.? So, it does tailor based on offers, but it has a conversation, it qualifies, then books into your client's calendar. And that's what a bot does. And the beauty of it is, this is passive. And also from a selling perspective, we can actually get rid of, well, when I say get rid of, it actually cuts costs for your client, basically. Because rather than having to pay someone like a receptionist to be on the phone, and bearing in mind they only work from like 9 till 5, they have an AI agent here which can work 24/7 and it does all the calling for them. Cool. So I'm a little bit cautious. I waffled on a little bit. Now, how are we actually going to sign these clients? Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. In my opinion, there's only two main ways of actually signing clients. So client acquisition, two best ways for local businesses. We have outbound, which is literally just cold calling. That is it. And then we have inbound, running ads for yourself. Cool. That is it. Now, perks of cold calling. It's free, right? You can have pretty much unlimited data. And with data generation is something else that we need to talk about, right? But you can literally cold call as many businesses as you want, and it will never cost you a fucking penny, unless obviously you have like a pay-as-you-go sim or whatever. So that's one of the benefits. The one con of cold calling is you're pretty much shooting and just hoping that the bullet hits someone. Whereas with inbound, every time you shoot, the bullet hits. And that's like one of the perks of it. So if you are watching this and you have no money, start outbound, start cold calling. Don't worry about anything else. I don't think anything else works. DM setting doesn't really work anymore. Like it does. Obviously everything does work, but it's about, okay, it's a trade-off in terms of time. Would I rather do 100 cold calls or spend that same amount of time DMing? I'm 100% you'd rather cold call, okay? So only focus on outbound cold calling and then inbound running ads for yourself. Now, to start inbound, you need £10 a day minimum, okay? And that is what you need to start inbound. That is it, £10 a day minimum. Now, I do have another video that goes over how to actually set up an inbound system for yourself, so I'm not going to bore you guys with that today. I do recommend you watching that video. It should be here, hopefully, if I remember. Very valuable video. Cool. So, then we've got the data generation. Now, what you're going to use is Instant Data Scraper. Free, which is free by the way, to scrape Google Maps, and you will have unlimited leads. Now, one of the things that I want to point out is many people, when they target local businesses, what they do is they think, oh, well, I am based in London, for example. That means I can only work with businesses in London. That's not true. Like, you can work with so many businesses across the UK, across the US, wherever. Just because the term's local business doesn't mean you have to only target businesses locally to you. So yeah, just thought I'd make that clear. Cool. So then we've got the client acquisition, and then we've got the data generation. Now, our goal is to get 2 meetings a day, right? We need to book 2 sales calls in a day based on this figure up here. Well, outbound alone, realistically, at the beginning with no experience, is probably going to be 1 in, I'm going to say 100 calls. 1 in 100 calls. So you need to do 200 calls a day, Monday to Friday. Now, if you do have money to spend and you're thinking, fuck that, I don't want to do cold calls, that's cool, then we do inbound. Roughly, and this is rough, so bear this in mind, and obviously it does depend on so many different factors. you can run inbound and get a £10 cost per lead, okay, and a £35 cost per call. That is it. How cheap is that? So if I said to you, you give me £35 and I will give you a sales call, are you going to take it? Of course you are, right? So let's say you only had a 50% show rate. That is, for every £70 you spend, you have an opportunity there to speak with someone to potentially sell a service. And in this case, it's £1,000 a month. That's fucking crazy. And that is based on these, and this is based on the niche, remember? So based on the ICP, based on the target avatar, based on the things that you want. So if I said, I only want to work with businesses with £30,000 a month in revenue or more, then I can set that up on the ads and it will only give me leads and calls based on that criteria. So that's that. And that, when you put it down like this, it shows you how easy it actually is to get to £10,000 a month, really. Literally just charge 1k a month, you need 10 clients, you get 100 calls booked in the diary, 10 calls a week, so that means Monday to Friday, 2 calls a day. Well, if you do outbound, you do 200 calls a day, that will get you to 2 calls. Maybe at the beginning, by the way, it might take you some more calls. I remember it took me 700 calls to get my first ever meeting, but now I genuinely believe I could be at a position where I don't cold call anymore, I don't need to, but every 15 to 20 calls I could probably book in a meeting. And then inbound, if you think about it, and this is the beauty of inbound, and no one understands this, especially when it comes to scaling, right? And I will film, and I have already filmed a couple of videos on scaling, but this takes no time. Literally no time. Obviously the creatives does, right? And the more you scale with the inbound, then the more creatives you want to have. But especially when you're spending £10 a day, maybe every 3 to 4 days you need to put 30 minutes into it, and that is it. I promise you, it's insane. So if this, for something that takes no time, and then this obviously is very time consuming, but you can book in calls, you could even potentially, if you start this right and with the right guidance, get more than 2 sales calls a day. At Client Capital, our aim is to get everyone a minimum of 10 sales calls a week, and that's something that we achieve, I think, every single time. I don't know, we don't really track that, but it's so fucking easy to do that, especially when we help people set up inbound systems and things like this. It is very second nature to us. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking, shit, I want to start an agency now, or if you've already started an agency but you're not seeing so much success, what I want you guys to do is click on the link below, watch the training video, understand, okay, well, what does Client Capital do, understand a little bit more about us, and then I'd love for you to book in a call with us, with obviously myself and Dan, and we can see about how we can help you really scale to £10,000 a month plus, and that is something that is extremely achievable, guys. I cannot stress that to you enough. Well, hopefully that video was useful. This is literally just a foundation to it, guys. If you copy this and you have this framework stuck in your head, you will get to that £10,000 a month mark very, very quickly. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to comment, and I'm more than happy to help you guys out. And yeah, make sure you subscribe as well, and I'll see you in the next video.